I'm using my Avalon preset right here. Shout out to Avalon right here. And then I track with the Avalon. So what I like to do is turn everything off except for the Avalon and my EQ. However, I will turn the EQ off for now. Looks like I have a little bit of reverb on him. Okay, cool. So all I had on was the Avalon. I'm going to go back through now and kind of look at what the Avalon's doing and adjust certain things. But for the most part, I'm probably going to leave this how it already is set up because I already had it built around him when he first recorded. So we have the preamp gain, -22. I have the high gain on because this just does a lot. You can see if turn it off. I think just leave it on. Keep it around -22. The VU meter is hitting anywhere between 0, 3, and 5. Just perfect. Compression wise, it's 3. Go down. Needs more. You go up. It's too much. So it looks like right around 3 is perfect. Got a little bit of phasing on. The phasing kind of just helps with the dubs and certain parts of the beat. I have a filter on. Just kind of gives it a little bit more. Just a little cleaner. And then we're oversampling. Right here, this is oversampling the attack and the release. Or at least the attack. It's just gonna take up CPU power. So if you don't have CPU power, don't use it. If you have CPU power, use it. I'm high passing at 70. I think it defaults at 80. But I think it sounds better at 70. Go down to 30. And what it's doing, a high pass frequency is essentially kind of what I'm doing right here. This is the visual version of it. I have it as a low cut right here. Low cut, high pass. They're like the same thing. A lot of people get it mixed up, but I'm cutting out low end from him. The Avalon is doing it at a 70 hertz, it looks like. I'm pretty sure it defaults at 80, but I like how it sounds at 70. It's not doing too much, but I'm gonna end up cutting more of that out anyways when I get to the actual EQ. So I just leave it at 70. It sounds good at 70. Don't really touch it. The input I have is set to line instead of mic. I have all these on. These are just oversampling. I can turn them on and off for you right now. But the line and the mic, you switch it. They do different things. So I just keep it at line. The meter, I keep the meter on because it tells me it's a visual representation of what I'm doing. Compression, I want the compressor to work. Sidechain, it's basically just doing sidechaining the compression. High-end frequency, we're just oversampling. We're oversampling the high ends. Sidechain the mids. Sounds pretty good. Huh. I'm gonna keep that on. Sidechaining the mid. Sounds good. It's cleaning up his mid-range. It's sidechain. It's sidechain compressing the mid, I think? Or it's sidechaining the EQ. It's EQing the mids. It's sidechaining the EQ to the mids. That's fire. It sounds beautiful. Turn it on and off. Just has just got a good oomph and harmonic to it. Sounds pretty good. Alright, so now we can go back to the EQ, turn this EQ back on. We're just cutting out the extra low end from his voice. I noticed with the red, the sweet spot in his voice, like I said, it's like that low mid to high mid. Doesn't really get too high. So I like to EQ an extra low cut, high pass at around 200 hertz. And then this, I'm just taking some dB out of his voice, that low mid. I'm just kind of cleaning up that frequency there. Around 220. Just cleans it up. Sounds good. Keep it on. This, I'm boosting his around 800, his mids. Remember how we already printed the beat, but if I were to go back, remember when I was EQing the beat and I said around 800, I like to cut because that's kind of where some of the mid-range of the vocals come in. Well, I have it sidechained. Let me see if this will show it. If I could get the beat behind it. No, I usually have to do it through if I go back here, let's do this. Okay. The fab filter, I'm gonna turn this off later. I'm just using this as a visual representation to show you what I'm kind of doing with the side chains right now. Just real quick, I'm gonna turn it off though. What we're looking at is the frequency of the beat, and down here it's also analyzing. In red is going to be red. In red, it's going to be red's lead frequency. So you're going to see them kind of blending in, and I'm going to talk about the sidechain and how it's working, because it's working behind the scenes. It's being sidechained. Here's the beat. Here's red's vocals. What's happening is around here is 800. That's like the meat and potatoes of his vocals. This 800 right here is literally the meat of him. So what I'm doing back over here is I'm boosting his vocals up about 2 dB. And what that's doing is just giving a little bit more volume in his mid-range. The oomph of his voice, the main part of his voice, is being turned up 2 dB so you can hear him louder and clearer and just brighter. So that's all we're doing, and it's being sidechained to the beat. So at the same time as red's volume is going up 2 dB, that part of the beat is tucking under his voice. I think I had it at like 3-4 dB. So they're kind of like leveling out in a sense. Over here, I'm taking out around 2 to -3-ish dB in the 2K range. This range is known as the pain range. If I hold control, oh, it wasn't control, alt, hold alt and drag up and down. You hear that? That's like the harsh frequencies in his voice. So around this 2K range, it's just harsh frequencies. So cut those frequencies out. 2 to 3 dB. It's just like another de-essing in a way, cutting out the harsh high frequencies, high mid frequencies in his voice. I then boost around 10K. This 10K shelf. If you're going for kind of, I know JB in the chat here, he likes his depending on what he's working on, he likes his shit super gritty. And Red's kind of the same way. However, what they don't understand is that high end that I'm boosting in your voice is just to make your voice poke out a little bit more. Makes it a little bit brighter in the high end. So it might cut away some of the grittiness just a little. It's still giving it more kind of brightness and color to it and more tone so that it stands out more on top of the beat. Exotic dope, oh, smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get G's. She want me to give her bread to that bitch, please. And if she ain't but when it come to fucking war, I be quick to leave. Hit him in his vein, nigga, where he quick to bleed. And then I also like to brick wall his vocals around 2500 hertz on the lead. I'm gonna try to explain it the best I can. If I'm being honest with you, I don't. This shit, it's subjective. Some people do it, some people don't. I like to do it because, for one, I'm recording in my garage. It's not really soundproofed, not at all. So I like to just cut out that extra high-end frequency that honestly most people can't even really hear. Like, yeah, obviously if I take it off and turn it on and off, like, you're gonna hear a difference. But once it's balanced out and things like that, the average person is not gonna know that. They're not gonna know what they're hearing. They're not gonna hear that. So I'm basically just cutting out that extra high-end frequency and that high-end room noise. I'm cutting out that high room noise that's being picked up on the mic. People in the background, talking, screaming, a door opening, whatever, anything you didn't intend to record. Obviously, you shouldn't record that to begin with. However, sometimes shit happens. But any like high-end sounds, extra sounds it picks up, cutting it right here helps eliminate that extra high sounds. Same with the low. When you cut out a lot of low, that'll also eliminate like the rumbling and the microphone and some of the cable. That helps eliminate that. So, and plus with his lead vocal right now, he's not really singing. He's rapping. He's like a low mid, high mid. So cutting it 2500 hertz, maybe even 20 hertz, maybe even 18. It all depends. I'll go up and down and check it out. But that just kind of helps clean up the vocal a little bit more, and it helps sit on top of the beat. Because remember how I was saying I did the same thing on the beat and I cut out that extra high end because I'm making that room for his vocals. So that extra 5000 hertz is gonna sit better on the beat. Exotic dope, oh, smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get G's. She want me to it kind of just tightens his vocals. It's just tightening his vocals. Better pay the fee
No, I won't hit for free. You gotta pay that fee, you think you get some dick from me. The club steady taxing, why they get their shit from me? And they don't.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear difference. Definitely make sure to watch and listen to headphones if you can. But I hear difference. It won't be much to the average listener, but to me as an engineer and a producer, you can definitely hear it, and it just gives you that extra 2% boost of a cleaner mix, especially on vocals. Now is some more compression. So like I said before earlier, I start with the Avalon. This is adding some compression. This is kind of like the main thing I'm building through harmonically and loudness wise. I'm using the Avalon to kind of judge that for me, but I'm using some more compression. I'm using the 1176 Rev E. It's pretty good. I don't mind this one. I have the 1176 pack. I like the Rev E, which is what I was using right there, and then just the 1176 LN is really nice too. I don't know, this is a super popular one, so I think for this video I'm going to use this one. I always set the release 7, tack in between 3 and 5, 4, and then we adjust the ins and outs. So I don't want this compressor to do a whole lot, because like I said, I'm using the Avalon. The Avalon's going to be kind of doing the most of it. So I want this to hit anywhere between 0 and -3. I do not want to go over -3, because then it's just doing too much.
Exotic dope, oh, we smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get bread to that bitch, please. And if she ain't paying red, then I'm quick to leave. But when it come to fucking war,
so we can keep it at -24. It's hitting perfect. And then we can turn the output up and down.
You want me to fuck? No, I won't hit for free. You gotta pay that fee, you think you get some dick from me. The club steady
keep it between 18 and 12. What's that? Probably like a 15. Turn it on and off. You can hear it. It's just giving that extra harmonic sound, extra color, extra brightness, bold. What the 1176 also is really good for is kind of leveling. What I learned is that the 1176, it helps the vocals stand out more on top of the beat. It doesn't get drowned out. The vocals are always poking out better. So that's why I like this one more as well. Then I just set it to that, and I don't really adjust it. I mean, if I think it needs to do a little bit more, I'll maybe adjust the input. But I don't really want to go past -3, so I think to just keep it at -24 is perfect. Then this is my studio rack. This is the studio rack. It's my little Waves rack. You can only use Waves plugins on here. So if I go back to the start of the chain, this is where I would have auto-tune in right here as this first insert, but he doesn't want auto-tune, so I'm not using any auto-tune. This is Ascend. This is the reverb. I'll get to that after I'm done with the main vocal chain. But auto-tune, Avalon, because I keep that on. That's the default tracking setting. I'm mixing around that setting right there. Pro Q3, EQing his vocals, cutting out more highs, cutting out more lows, boosting him, cutting out frequencies, boosting frequencies. A little bit more compression, a little more harmonics, a little more oomph. Then back into the studio rack. It's just basically a mini chain within the whole chain. So I'm going to turn all these off except for the main RVox. This is the RVox. It's a gate. You can use it as a compressor. I don't use it as a compressor. I keep that at 0. Keep the gain at 0. I use the gate. And for those of you wondering, you can change it between light, dark, and legacy. Legacy is the OG. I just keep it at dark mode. I don't really like the light mode. Dark's fine. Hit play. Going a little too hard. Let's bring it down 20. We don't want the gate to work too hard. I am pushing it pretty hard, but that's okay. He's pretty loud. What the gate is doing is it's every time he stops rapping or he takes a breath, there's a certain threshold, and the gate is pushing to that threshold. So it's like helping you. It's smoothing the chops in his. Every time he stops, it smooths that out, and it smooths out the breath chops. Yo, what's up, Kai? How you doing tonight, man? I joined in your stream earlier. I was just laying in bed watching. Exotic dope, all we smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get G's. She want me to give her. It just smooths out his voice. And then after that RVox, it goes into a vocal rider. It's basically just vocal automation. Let me set it to default real quick. Full reset. So this is going to be the default vocal rider settings. This is automation in a way. This is the live version of it. It's just kind of helping his lead stay more consistent. So when artists rap, sometimes they have a lot of energy, and then certain parts of the song they'll kind of go lower or higher or whatever based on how they're feeling and shit. So when I keep the vocal rider on, it's consistently, for the most part, keeping him leveled. I do vocal all the way up, just all the way up vocal. I keep these at pretty much default. Sometimes I'll go down to like maybe -5. For the most part, I keep it default. When I hit play, I then adjust the sensitivity. We don't want it to work too hard. We want it to just be a consistent flow. So we'll keep it at -17. See how certain parts it's turning him down. Some parts it'll turn him up, just to kind of keep him consistent. I guess it's meant to be. Put the thing up to your face. That's where it's meant to be. It got me blowing up. But why they don't mention me? And if you rap like then I do some more sibilants. This is also sibilants live. It's just another form of de-essing. We'll full reset. I think default is like -12 or some shit. I usually keep it on default, or sometimes I'll go up. It's just helping with the sibilants, the S and T's and S's. So I'll go between -12 and like -30, depending on how much it really needs. I don't want to overdo it. So we'll just do like -17 for right now. Just smoothens him out. Channel strip. It's just another way of EQing. It's you can use it as EQ and compression. I do a little both. I usually use a certain preset that I load almost every time. This Chris Tesfano lead Vox. For whatever reason, I really like how this sounds. I don't know why. It's clean. It's got good color to it. Exotic dope, all we smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get G's. She want me to give her bread to that bitch. It's just clean. I always turn analog off. I turn the threshold all the way up. And then I adjust the compression because I want these dots right here to hit between 3 and 6. Sometimes it can go to 10, but I usually like to have it hit around 2.5 so that the 6 is consistently hitting. It's okay if it goes a little over and a little bit less, but you don't want it to go past 10. I like to turn on the split. With this, there's like levels to it, how it works. Having split on and channel output, it goes in a certain order, and I just like, it just sounds better with this order. Couldn't really explain it to you if I tried. So filter, I like the filter on, but you don't want it to do too much. So I usually leave it in the middle-ish between 70 and 100 something. 99 is fine. Just cleans them up. The high mids or highs, I usually boost around 9 to 10 depending on the type of vocal. Since he's kind of more of a low rap, I kind of just boost to like 9, 10-ish. And I boost the dB up to like 4. Just gives it a little extra high end. Then the high mids, I don't adjust too much. I usually just kind of keep this default to the preset. I'll maybe turn this to like 1.8, sometimes 2. Let's go back to 1.8. The low mids, I don't really adjust too much. I keep that default. And then the super lows, I cut to around 300. Depends on the vocal, and then I'll take some low out, but I don't like how that sounds on red right now, so we'll do like, I think I have them already at around 100, so let's just go to 200. Oh, -1. Turn it on and off. It's just a cleaner sound. Gives you harmonics and color. It's EQing at the same time, so it's EQing everything we've just done. It's EQing the compression, it's EQing the sibilants, it's EQing the vocal rider, it's EQing that RVox gate. It's just sounding smoother. And then after that, it goes right into this Saturn. This is just color, saturation, distortion, whatever you want to use it for. I'm using it for extra saturation, extra color, on and off. I usually like to use the clean tube. I think that sounds the best. Linear phase, I put it on good for now, and when I'm ready to like master and print, I'll put it on superb. You can leave it on superb for now because we printed out the beat, so we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't run out of power. But I match it to how I EQ'd it, so boosting a little bit of tonality at 30% in this low range area to give his lows a little boost. His mids boosting around 55%. You can solo it. You can turn it on and off. I put the frequency around his highs where his highs start, usually around, sometimes around 3 to 4K ish. I usually put it around 4K. And I boost his highs up to like 70. Just gives it more color and saturation behind it. Turn it on and off. Just gives it that extra crispy, clean sound. Just sounds better, bro. I don't know. Some people don't like this filter or this plugin. I've seen a couple people come in here and told me that sorry, my garage is open, that this saturation is too much. They don't like how it sounds. And I'm like, what, bro? This is like one of the better, you know, added saturations you can add. It's redundant. Added that you can add. I think it sounds really fucking clean, especially when you turn on the linear phasing and the superbness. It's just smooth, bro. It's butter.
Exotic dope, while we smoke on this good weed. These bitches jocking cause they know that we get G's. She want me.
It even just, it cleans him up, man. It sounds like it cleans him. Then from there, I add in some fresh air. I'll go to default real quick. Default 00. I almost always boost 20%. That's just too much. It gets harsh. 0 is just not enough. 30 is okay, but it's a little too much. 20 is usually pretty good. Sometimes it's too much. So I think on this one, I'm gonna just put it at 10, and then I'm gonna bring his mid-air in a little bit more. We'll just leave it 10-10. Let's go 15, 20. It's usually what I like to use. Sounds pretty good. It just adds more saturation and oomph. Fuck it. We'll do 10, 15. Because we don't want to do too much. That sounds good right there. Then I go into soothe. It's like another de-essing in a way. I like to use the preset vocal warmer. I think it just sounds the best. I do a fast release, pretty fast attack, especially when they rap. I let it hit around 5.3. That's like default setting for this preset. Turn it on and off. It's just cleaning them up. It's getting rid of those harsh frequencies. Brings them out. Then I do more compression. Multi-band compression. I keep it at default A, and then I have a little preset that somebody in the chat gave to me. Apparently it's a Justin Bieber multi-band compression. I think it sounds pretty good. I use it mainly on like higher vocals. For vocals with like red and for guap, I'll usually do lead A, or I'll do this low clean. But honestly, this Justin Bieber high one almost always sounds good. But I think for this one with the red, I honestly think this one sounds better. Yeah, this low clean sounds pretty good. Sometimes the high clean sounds good too, but he's not really high. He's like a low mid. So I like to use the low clean. Yeah, let's go back and forth. Yeah, I like the low clean better. All right. Then it goes back into the Avalon. The Avalon should still be defaulted to how we were. If anything, it's hitting a little bit harder so we could lower a little bit of compression on it. So this is hitting pretty good still. See, we turn it on and off. And like I was saying, the vocal chain is pretty much built around this Avalon right now.
These niggas capping in their rap shit sick to me. Better pay the fee, you think you finna sit with me. You wanna sit mud? No, I don't sit for free. You want me to fuck? No, I won't hit for free. You gotta pay the fee.
Sounds pretty fucking good. Then it goes into another clipper. I usually do between 10 to 20. You don't want to do too much. I think 10 sounds good.
I know it's meant to be, cause me rap like you. Nah, it ain't meant to be. And take the shit off the net. That's where it's meant to be. And keep this shit up off the street.
Hear how it just cleans up his vocals a little bit. It just rounds off all these peaks down here.
That's how it's meant to be. Hey.
Every time he clips or peaks,
She working like a busy bee.
it kind of just cleans it up
I call him double D's, both hands on
and turns him up at the same time. And then on top of the L2, this is where I change it. I keep it on vocals, limiting. I like to do mixing, natural limiting, and then I'll switch it between safe, dynamic, punchy, aggressive. He sounds pretty good on dynamic. Punchy's not too bad, but dynamic's pretty good.
Best believe that we gon' hit him quick. Pull up anywhere. Best believe that we gon' end it quick. Like Mac Drake. Yes, I still be in the shit. And why she jockin' red? Cause I guess she fucking interested.
Oh, she interested?
Why the bitch she always interested?
She ain't interested into you, nigga.
She ain't interested in you. Remember that. Then I like to save. Make sure you're saving. Oversample. I like to oversample at 16x. It's going to take up a lot of CPU power. This is the last part of the vocal chain. Before you hit 16x, always save, because this might fuck up your CPU. It might overload it. It might crash. Save, 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 save. 16x. See? Boom. I'm out of CPU power. I can't even 16x it and hear it. For now, I don't really need it at 16x. It's okay.
Exotic dope, all we smoke on is good weed. These bitches jockin' cause they know that we get G. She want me to get.
Still gonna run out of power. So I like to just start at 0, kind of slowly go all the way up until he's just really fucking loud and distorted, and then I slowly go down. I'm trying to find the point where he's just sitting like on top of the beat, not super loud and not under, just like right on top where the beat's still knocking and he's like sitting in those pockets that we built earlier.
Exotic dope, all we smoke on is
Excuse me.
These bitches jockin' cause they know that. Exotic.
Damn, bro. Okay. I need to save a little CPU power for now, so I'll just change this to good. Usually, if I'm running out of CPU power, it's because I have this set to linear and high quality at superb. So this should hopefully fix it.
Exotic dope, all we smoke on is good weed. These bitches jockin' cause they know
See, it's too loud now right there.
Me to give her bread to that bitch, please. And if she ain't paying red, then I'm quick to leave. But when it come to fucking war, I be quick to leave.
I usually like to keep it between 1 and 2. Keep this between 0 and 2, depending on how well you track the vocals and blended them in and mixed them. They should be sitting already pretty good on top of the beat and in pocket. So you shouldn't really have to do too much with this limiter.
Exotic dope, all we smoke on is good weed. These bitches jockin' cause they know that we get G. She want me to give her bread to that bitch, please.
Just helps him sit on top. Even at 0.
Hit him in his vein, nigga, where he quick to bleed. These niggas capping in their rap shit sick to me. Better pay the fee, you think you finna sit with me.
So I don't need it to do too much. I don't need it to work too hard. 1 is fine. He's already hitting -12 LUFS. That's loud.